welcome to the Wild Gut Project. My name is Carrie. This is all about being vegan on the low FODMAP diet for irritable bowel syndrome. And today I've got a recipe for you for those times when you've made a really nice low FODMAP meal and you're worried about adding too much more FODMAP, but unfortunately it's ended up quite low calories. So this is something you can add on to almost anything. So the recipe are some potato cakes, which I've added some olives and parsley and some protein powder to. So altogether it ends up around 6 grams of protein and about 280 calories, which is actually really important because this low FODMAP vegan diet means you can very often end up hitting your kind of nutritional targets for like vitamins and minerals and fibre way before you actually hit the amount of calories you're meant to eat, and obviously that is not sustainable. If you're having 3 or 4 meals a day, you want them to be at least 500 calories, so you are going to get your 2,000 to 3,000 calories in per day depending on your needs. So this recipe is something you can make in advance and add on, and I'll link the recipe below with some other options of flavours you can do to kind of help it combine nicely with whatever else you're making. So let's say you've made a simple low FODMAP pasta dish, but actually thinking about it, it's maybe 300 or 400 calories, a bit too little. So you're going to take 1 cup worth of potatoes, that's 270-ish grams, and just finely chop them up. Doesn't have to be neat, we just want it to cook quickly basically, and I'm leaving the skins on just because there's more nutrition in there. And then I'm just going to cover it in boiling water and add a little bit of salt before popping it on the stove and boiling it for about 10 or 15 minutes. You just want it to be so that the potato can be mashed, and then you're ready to drain it, pouring out the hot water, and then I'm going to rinse it in cold water just so it cools down quickly and you can handle it. So bring it over to a bowl, and I leave way too much water in this, so learn from my mistakes. I'm just going to start mashing it up with a fork, or obviously if you have a potato masher that would be much better. And then you just want to break it down into a smooth mash, ready to start adding a little bit more flavour. So here I've got some black olives chopped up, it's about 3 tablespoons, and then about a teaspoon of capers, a nice big handful of parsley that I've chopped up, very roughly, and then I've got 2 grams, just 2 grams of some pea protein. And I'm just going to mix that all together and incorporate it evenly throughout. And then I'm using some corn flour, just about 1 teaspoon, obviously sieving it in because lumps of that wouldn't be so nice, and this is just going to help bind it together and make it a bit more solid. And I probably should have added more given all the water I left in. So mixing that about, and obviously season to taste with some pepper and a bit of salt. And then I'm going to head over to the freezer and get the ends of a piece of sourdough bread, which I never finish, and I'm going to blend it to make some breadcrumbs. And we just need a small amount, but it's just going to add a little something extra to the finished product. So I'm just taking a handful of the mash, shaping it carefully with my hands, and this is much too sticky. It shouldn't be this sticky. I added too much water. And then I'm just sprinkling on just a little bit of the crumbs and just pressing them in, and this really helps it get golden and crispy when we come to cooking it later. So I'm just going to do that with the remainder of the mixture. I end up having about 5, but you could make them bigger and have less if you wanted. It just depends how comfortable you feel flipping them. So there they are, ready to go. You could store them at this point in the fridge, or you can go ahead and fry them. So I've just heated some olive oil in the pan and I'm adding them in, and once they're golden on one side, flipping them over, say about 4 minutes on either side. And then at this point you could also freeze them, put them back in the microwave or in the pan to heat them up again, and you can put them with any meal such as pasta, well yeah, pretty much anything to be honest. They're good as an entree as well, so many options. So I hope you found this useful inspiration, or if you do make the recipe you enjoy it. I love hearing when you guys give my recipes a go, so definitely tag me or message me or whatever if you do. Otherwise I will see you next Sunday with another video, so please subscribe so you don't miss it, and obviously like if you like this, and I'll see you next week. Bye!